The night was quiet at San Francisco International Airport, but for Officer Ethan Mercer and his K-9 partner Angel, every shift was anything but ordinary. Angel wasn't just any dog. She was a Belgian Malinois with sharp amber eyes that seemed to see more than most humans could. Ethan looked down at her as they walked the polished terminal floors. "Ready for another night, girl?" he asked softly. Angel's tail gave a small wag, her way of saying she was always ready. For 3 years they had worked side by side, watching countless travelers come and go. Angel had never disobeyed a command. She was disciplined, focused, and fiercely loyal. Ethan trusted her with his life, and she trusted him with hers. They had formed a bond stronger than most human friendships. Every morning, Ethan picked Angel up from the K-9 facility at 5 a.m., ran her along the airport's perimeter road, and then spent time refreshing her training before clocking in at 7 a.m. Their routine was strict, but it kept them sharp. "Angel, heel," Ethan said as they approached the security checkpoint. Angel stayed close, sniffing the air, alert but calm. Most people barely noticed her. Just another airport dog doing her job. But Ethan knew better. She had a sixth sense. It was what had made her so special since the day he'd taken her in, a stray abandoned near the Arizona border. Many handlers had passed on her, but Ethan saw something in her eyes, a deep intelligence, almost human. They passed through the crowds, Angel's nose twitching occasionally. Ethan chuckled. "You always find the quiet ones, don't you?" Angel barked softly as if answering, then pulled a little on her leash to the right. It was a woman pushing a stroller. Ethan barely had time to react before Angel's body tensed. "Angel, stay!" he commanded quickly, but she was already lunging forward. "Angel, heel!" His voice was firm, but Angel didn't listen. She jumped at the stroller, front paws landing hard on its edge. The woman screamed and stepped back, eyes wide with fear. Passengers froze, panic starting to ripple through the terminal. Ethan grabbed Angel's leash tightly, heart pounding. This wasn't like her at all. "Angel, down now," he ordered, trying to pull her back. But she stayed rigid, eyes locked on the stroller. "What's going on here, Supervisor?" Garcia's voice cut through the chaos as he hurried over. Ethan's grip didn't falter. "She's never done this before," Ethan said, voice low and tense. "Something's wrong." Angel's ears pricked, her entire body screaming, "Alert!" Ethan swallowed hard. This was no routine inspection anymore. Something bigger was unfolding right in front of them. "Stay calm," Ethan whispered, almost to Angel, but also to himself. The night was just beginning. The tension in the terminal grew thicker by the second. Angel's gaze never left the woman pushing the navy blue stroller. Ethan Mercer could feel the weight of the moment settle over the usually busy night shift. Most travelers barely noticed the unusual scene unfolding, but those who did were suddenly holding their breath. Angel's body was rigid, her ears sharply pricked forward, and a low growl rumbled from deep in her throat. This wasn't a usual alert. Ethan whispered, "Angel, easy. What do you see, girl?" But Angel didn't back down. She circled the stroller, nose twitching as she sniffed the air again and again. The woman's face was pale, sweat beading on her forehead despite the cool air conditioning. Her eyes darted nervously across the terminal. Ethan noticed her hands gripping the stroller handle so tightly, her knuckles turned white. "Ma'am, can I ask where you're arriving from?" Ethan's voice was calm but firm. "Seoul," the woman said quickly, her voice shaking. "Direct flight." Angel's growl got louder. Ethan took a step closer, keeping his tone steady. "Angel's trained to be gentle around babies," he said. "She's not here to scare anyone, but she's sensing something wrong." The woman's eyes flashed with panic. "Please keep that dog away from my baby," she pleaded, moving the stroller backward. "He's already upset enough." Ethan frowned. He knew Angel was no ordinary dog. She had an intuition that went beyond scent. But the woman's anxiety was growing, and the baby's cries only added to the tension. The infant wasn't just fussing. Something was clearly wrong. "Is this your first flight with him?" Ethan asked softly, trying to connect. The woman nodded, wiping a tear. It's been hard. He has a stomachache, maybe the pressure from landing, she explained. I've been so nervous. Angel whined softly, frustration clear in her voice. Ethan looked closer at the baby blanket. It wasn't moving naturally with the baby shifting. Something stiff and unnatural was beneath it. Mind if I take a look? Ethan asked. The woman's face tightened, and she shook her head. No, he's fine, she insisted quickly. I just changed him on the plane. He needs to rest. Ethan didn't believe her. Angel's behavior told a different story. The dog was alert, protective, sensing a hidden danger no one else could see. The quiet suspicion in the air was electric, and Ethan knew this night was about to change everything. Angel, stay, he said firmly, but the dog stayed focused on the stroller. This wasn't just a routine check anymore. Something dark was lurking beneath the surface, and Angel was determined to expose it. Angel's sudden lunge shattered the tense silence. Before anyone could react, her powerful paws landed on the stroller's edge, causing a blue baby blanket to slip to the floor. Ethan Mercer's heart pounded as his eyes caught a flash of something cold and metallic beneath the fabric. Angel, down. Now, Ethan ordered. But the dog stayed fixed, growling low and warning. The crowd around them froze. Mothers grabbed their children, travelers stepped back, panic spreading like wildfire. The woman pushing the stroller, Melissa Chen, turned, ghostly pale. Her face twisted with fear, eyes wide as she tried to pull the stroller away. Get that animal off my baby, she shouted, voice cracking. But Angel didn't back down. Her instincts screamed danger, and Ethan trusted her completely. Slowly, Ethan crouched beside the stroller and lifted the blanket. The glint of a handgun revealed itself, a Glock 19, hidden right beneath the baby, safety off. Ethan's breath caught. A weapon, smuggled beneath an infant. The realization hit like a thunderclap. Everyone stay calm. Security, secure the area, came a shout as officers moved quickly to control the chaos. Passengers whispered and gasped, many trying to move away from the scene. But Ethan's focus stayed sharp. He looked at Melissa, seeing not just fear but something deeper, desperation. Ma'am, step away from the stroller. Now, Ethan commanded, voice steady but firm. Melissa's hands trembled as she complied, tears streaming down her face. Please, she whispered, you don't understand. Then tell me, Ethan said gently, kneeling beside Angel, who remained alert, eyes locked on Melissa. Why bring a gun under your baby? What are you protecting? Melissa's sobs filled the quiet space. I'm not a criminal, she said brokenly. I was trying to keep my son safe. The room fell silent except for the baby's weak cries. Angel, once fierce, softened, pressing her head against Ethan's leg, sensing the fear and pain in the mother. Ethan nodded slowly, realizing this was no ordinary smuggling case. As officers secured the weapon, Melissa's story began to unfold. One, of abuse control and a desperate fight for protection. Ethan looked down at Angel, pride swelling in his chest. The dog had sensed more than just danger. She had sensed a hidden truth, buried beneath fear and pain. Good girl, Angel, Ethan whispered, running a hand over her sleek coat. This moment marked the start of a journey none of them expected, a journey into darkness but also toward hope. Security cordoned off the area, and Melissa was gently escorted away for questioning. Angel stayed by Ethan's side, alert and steady, as ever. The night had shifted and there was no going back. Ethan's mind raced with questions. What was the full story behind this weapon? And how far would Melissa go to protect her son? The answers lay ahead, tangled in fear, courage, and the unbreakable bond between a mother and her child. But one thing was clear. Angel had saved them, all tonight. The sterile room felt colder than the terminal outside. Melissa Chen sat across from Officer Ethan Mercer, her hands trembling on the table. Angel lay quietly at Ethan's feet, alert but calm, her presence a steady anchor in the storm of questions. Ethan broke the silence gently. Melissa, we found the gun under the blanket. Why were you carrying it? Melissa's eyes filled with tears. I wasn't trying to hurt anyone, she whispered. I was trying to protect my son. Her voice cracked as she began to speak. Robert, my husband. He wasn't always like this. When we met, he was kind. But after we married, everything changed. Ethan nodded, urging her silently to go on. He became controlling, isolating me from friends, watching my every move. Then the abuse started, first words, then hands. Her voice broke. I reported him once. The police didn't believe me. He had connections. Nothing changed. Angel shifted slightly as, if sensing the pain in Melissa's words, Melissa continued. When I found out I was pregnant, I hoped things would get better. But Robert got worse. He watched every appointment, tracked my phone, even installed cameras in the nursery. Ethan's expression darkened. That's terrifying. It was, she agreed, wiping her eyes. I knew I had to leave, but I was scared he would find us, so I took one of his guns, the only way I thought I could protect Benjamin. The weight of her confession filled the room. Ethan glanced down at Angel, who looked up with understanding eyes. Why come back to the U.S.? Ethan asked softly. My visa was expiring in South Korea, Melissa said. I had no choice. I planned to start over, change our names. But Robert, he's obsessed with finding us. Agent Diana Powell, who had joined the interview, spoke up. We've seen cases like this before. It's heartbreaking how often fear traps victims in silence. Melissa nodded, voice barely a whisper. I didn't want to be a criminal. I just wanted to keep my son safe. Ethan leaned forward. You did what you thought was best, but now we need to figure out how to help you. Melissa looked at Angel, a flicker of hope breaking through her fear. That dog, she saw what I couldn't say. She saved us. Angel's tail gave a small wag, as if accepting the praise. Ethan promised, we're going to do everything we can to keep you both safe. In that quiet room beneath the harsh lights, a fragile trust began to grow. A bond forged not just by duty, but by understanding and hope. The fight was far from over, but for the first time, Melissa wasn't alone. Angel wasn't just any detection dog. Over the years, Ethan Mercer had come to realize she possessed something rare, an almost supernatural ability to sense danger beyond just smells. It wasn't just about training. Angel read people. She could spot fear, deception, and hidden threats in ways no one else could. Ethan remembered one practice session early in their partnership. Angel was supposed to follow a simple scent trail, but suddenly she veered off course, barking at a maintenance worker's bag nearby. That worker had prescription meds, chemicals that could be used in explosives, something no one had caught during training. Angel, how did you know? Ethan had asked, stunned. The head trainer was annoyed, but Ethan insisted, she's not just trained, she's smart, she knows when something's off. Angel's eyes seemed to glow with quiet confidence, as if she understood more than anyone gave her credit for. Another time, during a busy holiday shift, Angel stared down a man trying to sneak through the customs line. The man started sweating, shifting nervously. Before Ethan could even say a word, Angel's steady gaze made the man confess to carrying undeclared items. Ethan smiled. She has a sixth sense, knows who's hiding something before they even realize it. That's what made her perfect for this job, and why Ethan trusted her completely on that tense night at the airport. Angel wasn't just alerting to the stroller because of the gun. She was reading Melissa's fear, the baby's discomfort, the whole dangerous situation unfolding beneath the surface. Ethan looked down at Angel now, sitting quietly at his feet. You always knew something was wrong tonight, didn't you, girl? Angel's ears twitched and she gave a soft whine, a sound that felt like an answer. Her loyalty was more than obedience. It was instinct, heart, and understanding. Together they made a team that saved lives, not just by following orders, but by trusting the invisible signs others missed. Most people see dogs as tools, Ethan said quietly. But Angel, she's a partner, a guardian. The memories of past cases and Angel's unwavering courage made Ethan realize this night was no accident. Angel's unique gifts had brought them here for a reason, to protect a family in desperate need. As the night stretched on, Ethan knew one thing for sure. With Angel by his side, no secret would stay hidden for long. The shadow of Robert Keller loomed large over everything. As Melissa's story unfolded, Ethan Mercer and the team discovered just how deep and dangerous this man's control really was. It wasn't just about one gun hidden beneath a baby's blanket. It was a web of fear and violence that stretched far beyond the airport walls. Robert wasn't just an abusive husband. He was a powerful man with connections in law enforcement and private security. The more they dug, the darker the picture became. Reports of physical abuse, threats, and manipulation surfaced. Officers found video footage from home security cameras, showing Robert's violent outbursts, shoving Melissa, dragging her by her hair, even striking her while she held their newborn son. Agent Diana Powell sighed, her voice heavy. "We're dealing with someone who's not just dangerous, but very well connected. This isn't just a domestic case, it's a battle against a system that's been protecting him." Melissa's eyes filled with tears as she listened. "He told me no one would believe me," she said softly. He was right. Angel stayed close by Ethan's side, her amber eyes sharp and watchful. She seemed to understand the growing danger, her body tense but ready. Ethan whispered, "We won't let him hurt you or Benjamin." The team uncovered how Robert had monitored Melissa's phone, tracked her every move, and even tried to interfere with pediatrician visits. Financial records showed he controlled all their accounts, leaving Melissa with little access to money. Every attempt she made to escape was met with new barriers. "Robert's not just controlling her physically," Diana explained. "He's isolating her emotionally and financially. It's a classic pattern of abuse, but on a bigger scale." Ethan nodded grimly. "And with the weapons smuggled here, we see just how desperate she was to protect her son." Melissa looked down at Benjamin asleep in his crib nearby. "He always said if I left, he'd find us. He said no court would believe me over him," she whispered. Ethan placed a hand on her shoulder. "We're going to prove him wrong." Angel let out a soft whine, as if agreeing. The dog's presence was a small comfort in the storm of fear surrounding Melissa and her son. The investigation grew more intense. They traced Robert's security company and found corruption within local law enforcement. Officers who had buried previous complaints and intimidated witnesses. It was a fight not just against one man, but an entire system protecting him. Ethan looked down at Angel, feeling a surge of gratitude. "You're not just a detection dog," he said quietly. "You're a guardian. And tonight, we'll need every bit of that." The danger wasn't over. Robert Keller was still out there, still a threat. But with Angel's vigilance and the team's determination, Melissa and Benjamin had a chance. It was a battle for their lives and for their future. Melissa sat quietly in the dimly lit room, her hands clenched tightly in her lap. The weight of everything she'd been through pressed down on her like a heavy cloud. Officer Ethan Mercer sat nearby, his eyes never leaving Angel, who lay calmly by Melissa's feet. The dog's gentle presence was the only comfort in the room. "Agent." Diana Powell stepped forward, her voice steady but kind. "Melissa, we're here to help. You're not alone anymore." Melissa looked up, her eyes filled with doubt and fear. "How can I trust anyone? After everything Robert did, the lies, the threats?" Ethan nodded. "It's hard to trust when you've been hurt. But Angel and we've got your back. You're safe here." Melissa's voice trembled. "I'm scared. What if he finds us? What if the system fails again?" Diana leaned in. "That's why we're digging deep. We're exposing the truth about Robert and his connections. This isn't just about one woman or one family. It's about justice." Angel lifted her head and gave a soft whine as if understanding the fear in Melissa's heart. Ethan reached down, stroking Angel's sleek coat. "She's more than just a dog. Angel senses things we can't always see. She knows when someone's in danger." Melissa reached out hesitantly to touch Angel's head. "She's so calm. I wish I could be that strong." "You are," Ethan said gently. "It takes courage to face the darkness." The room fell silent for a moment. broken only by the baby's faint cries from the next room. Melissa's eyes filled with tears. I just want to protect him. I want him to grow up safe. Angel moved closer, resting her head on Melissa's knee. The small gesture brought a fragile smile to Melissa's lips. Diana looked at Ethan. This won't be easy. The corruption runs deep, but with your experience and Angel's instincts, we have a chance. Ethan sighed. We have to keep moving forward. For Melissa, for Benjamin. Melissa wiped her tears. Thank you. For believing me. Ethan met her gaze. We don't just believe you. We'll fight for you. Angel's eyes met Melissa's, full of silent promise. In that moment, trust began to grow. Not just between people, but between a mother and a dog who refused to let fear win. Outside, the night stretched on, full of shadows and threats. But inside that room, a spark of hope flickered, fueled by loyalty, courage, and the quiet strength of a four-legged guardian who never gave up. Melissa sat quietly in the courtroom, clutching Benjamin close. The air was heavy with tension, every face watching her with a mix of curiosity and judgment. Angel sat faithfully by Ethan Mercer's side, alert and calm, a silent guardian in the crowded room. This was the moment Melissa had feared and hoped for, testifying against Robert Keller. She knew the risks. Speaking out could put her and Benjamin in danger, but she also knew staying silent would mean living in fear forever. When the judge called her to the stand, Melissa took a deep breath. I'm here to tell the truth, she said, voice trembling but determined. Robert hurt me, he controlled me. I did what I had to do to protect my son. Ethan watched from the back, Angel's steady presence giving him strength. You're doing the right thing, he whispered to the dog, who responded with a soft whine. The defense attorney tried to shake Melissa's story, questioning every detail, trying to cast doubt. Are you sure this isn't all to gain custody? He asked sharply. Melissa's hands shook, but she held her ground. I want my son to be safe, she said firmly. That's all. Angel's eyes never left Melissa, a constant reminder of courage and loyalty. The dog had been more than a detection partner. She was a symbol of survival and hope. Outside the courtroom, protective measures were being set up. Restraining orders were filed. Security increased. Melissa was given a safe place to stay with Benjamin, away from Robert's reach. The fight was far from over, but she was no longer alone. After the hearing, Ethan knelt beside Angel. You're more than a dog, girl. You're a guardian, a lifesaver. Melissa smiled, tears in her eyes as she looked at Angel. Thank you. You saved us. Angel nuzzled Melissa gently, as if understanding every word. The courtroom battle was just one step, but it marked a turning point. Melissa was breaking free from years of fear and control. With Angel by her side, she found the strength to face the future. I never thought I'd get this far, Melissa said quietly. But now, I believe we can be free. Angel's tail wagged softly, a small but powerful sign of hope. The journey to safety and healing was only beginning. But for the first time, Melissa and Benjamin had a real chance, a chance to live without fear, protected by the unbreakable bond between a mother and a dog who refused to give up. Melissa's small house in a quiet Seattle neighborhood felt like a sanctuary at last. The long fight was over. Robert Keller was behind bars, facing serious consequences for his abuse and crimes. But the real victory was here, in this safe place, where Melissa and Benjamin could begin to heal. The days were slow, but steady. Melissa watched Benjamin laugh for the first time without fear. She held him close, tears of relief streaming down her cheeks. We're finally free, baby, she whispered. No more running, no more hiding. One afternoon, there was a soft knock at the door. Ethan Mercer stood there, and right beside him was Angel, her amber eyes warm and calm. Melissa smiled, heart swelling. Angel had been with them from the start, the quiet guardian who had seen through the fear and danger. Ethan grinned. Looks like someone missed you. Benjamin reached out his tiny hand toward Angel. The dog lowered her head gently, letting the baby touch her fur. The connection was quiet, but powerful, a symbol of safety and hope. Melissa knelt down, brushing Angel's ears. "You saved our lives, girl. I don't know how to thank you enough." Angel responded with a soft nudge against Melissa's hand, a reminder of the bond that had brought them through the darkest times. Ethan spoke softly. "You're doing great, Melissa. This is just the beginning, but you're not alone anymore." Melissa looked out the window, sunlight streaming in, feeling a fragile but growing strength. "I'm starting to believe we can really have a normal life." Angel settled beside Benjamin's crib, watching over him as he slept peacefully. The dog had been more than a partner on the job. She was now part of their family, a living reminder that protection came in many forms. Ethan added, "There's a program that matches rescued dogs with women leaving abusive situations. You should think about it." Melissa smiled through tears. "I think I will. We need that kind of protection. Not just from danger, but from loneliness." The story of Melissa, Benjamin, and Angel was far from over. It was a story of resilience, healing, and the quiet power that comes from trust. Trust in each other, and in the guardians who refuse to give up. As the sun set on that peaceful day, Angel rested her head on Melissa's knee. A silent promise that no matter what came next, they would face it together. From fear to hope, from darkness to light, their new beginning was a testament to survival and love, carried forward on 4 paws and an unbreakable bond. 6 months had passed since that fateful night at the airport, and life had begun to settle for Melissa and her son Benjamin. The nightmare with Robert Keller was behind them, and a fragile peace now filled their quiet home. Angel, the Belgian Malinois who had changed everything, remained a constant presence, a silent guardian watching over them both. Melissa sat on the porch, Benjamin asleep in her arms. Angel lay nearby, her eyes soft but alert. "I don't know what we'd do without you, Angel," Melissa whispered. The dog responded with a gentle nudge, a simple reminder that she was always there. Ethan Mercer visited often, bringing news of the new program inspired by Angel's incredible work. "We're matching rescued shelter dogs with women leaving abusive situations," Ethan explained. "Dogs like Angel who offer protection and hope." Melissa smiled, hope blooming in her heart. "That's amazing. A new chance for both dogs and women." Angel's legacy had sparked something bigger than anyone expected. A movement to give survivors a lifeline and a loving companion who could understand their fears without words. One afternoon, as Ethan prepared to leave, Melissa said softly, "You and Angel saved us. I never thought a dog could be more than a partner on the job." Ethan smiled warmly. "Sometimes salvation comes on 4 paws." Angel wagged her tail and rested her head on Melissa's lap. The bond between them was more than protection. It was trust, love, and healing. Melissa looked down at Benjamin, now growing stronger every day. "He's safe now. Because of you." The story wasn't just about a weapon hidden beneath a stroller, or a dangerous man. It was about survival, and the quiet power of a dog who saw past fear and pain to protect the innocent. Angel's eyes met Melissa's, filled with a wisdom beyond words. She was a guardian in every sense, brave, loyal, and full of heart. As the sun set over their peaceful home, Melissa knew the road ahead still held challenges. But with Angel by her side, and a community of support growing, she finally believed they could face anything. This was more than a story of rescue. It was a testament to the healing power found when human hearts trust the instincts of those who love unconditionally. And sometimes, when words fail, it's the soft touch of a paw and the steady gaze of a guardian that lights the way out of darkness.